so we're going to talk about leverage. The power of leverage. Sounds kind of nerdy, but we'll make it fun, right? So leverage is one of those things when you're a tiny business owner in survival mode, you don't like think about, right? It's something that's studied in corporate theory and in universities. But if you push pause and zoom out, you can see that it's a really critical, important part of business or influence or success, actually. There's certain things, because I'm a nerd, when I look at the economy that are like macro trends. And one of those is the internet. The internet is the ultimate form of leverage, right? We're going to talk about that in a second. But another macro trend is a trend of decentralization, right? Who's heard that term, Res? So cryptocurrency, do you got any ApeCoin owners out there? Anybody else? Just me? Just me? Yeah. I really need you to buy into ApeCoin, okay? It would really help me out. Anyway, cryptocurrency is only one form of decentralization, right? With finance, decentralized ledgers and all this stuff. But Uber, we talked about earlier, is actually, if you think about it, it's decentralized taxi service. Isn't that interesting? Airbnb is decentralized hotels, right? This is a pattern, it's a trend. It's not just one thing, right? It's right under your nose and you can't see it. And so when you look at the economy, you look for opportunities, you want to look for things that are leveraged. You know, in a way, the information business is being decentralized. And I know in this group, as weird as it is, because the majority of y'all have a service company, every Wednesday, I log on to Zoom and I talk about the information business. And some of y'all come in there casually and you're like, what is he talking about? What does this have to do with my cleaning company or my contracting business? I'm just seeding it. I'm seeding it in your mind because I see the service industry is evolving right before my eyes. I can literally see it happening. I saw it 10 years ago for the need for education and groups and certain things. And now I can see the next iteration is going to be decentralizing information. So there's a couple big programs. There's certain ways you can get information, and there's these mastermind groups. There's all this stuff. But the next iteration of that is going to be you being the expert after you complete the journey that you're on right now, if you want to. But anyway, let's talk about leverage. So Archimedes famously said that if you give me a lever long enough, I can move the world. Who was that? Love it. You're a nerd, Ron, just like me. So the power lever. So let's watch this video real quick. I think you're going to like it. And hopefully the audio is all good. Can you turn the volume up in the video?
A famous ancient Greek once said, "Give me a place to stand and I shall move the earth." But this wasn't some wizard claiming to perform impossible feats. It was the mathematician Archimedes describing the fundamental principle behind the lever. The idea of a person moving such a huge mass on their own might sound like magic, but chances are you've seen it in your everyday life. One of the best examples is something you might recognize from a childhood playground: a teeter-totter or seesaw. Let's say you and a friend decide to hop on. If you both weigh about the same, you can totter back and forth pretty easily. But what happens if your friend weighs more? Suddenly, you're stuck up in the air. Fortunately, you probably know what to do. Just move back on the seesaw and down you go. This may seem simple and intuitive, but what you're actually doing is using a lever to lift a weight that would otherwise be too heavy. This lever is one type of what we call simple machines, basic devices that reduce the amount of energy required for a task by cleverly applying the basic laws of physics. Let's take a look at how it works. Every lever consists of three main components: the effort arm, the resistance arm, and the fulcrum. In this case, your weight is the effort force, while your friend's weight provides the resistance force. What Archimedes learned was that there is an important relationship between the magnitudes of these forces and their distances from the fulcrum. The lever is balanced when the product of the effort force and the length of the effort arm equals the product of the resistance force and the length of the resistance arm. This relies on one of the basic laws of physics, which states that work measured in joules is equal to force applied over a distance. A lever can't reduce the amount of work needed to lift something, but it does give you a trade-off. Increase the distance, and you can apply less force. Rather than trying to lift an object directly, the lever makes the job easier by dispersing its weight across the entire length of the effort and resistance arms. So if your friend weighs twice as much as you, you'd need to sit twice as far from the center as him in order to lift him. By the same token, his little sister, whose weight is only a quarter of yours, could lift you by sitting 4 times as far as you. Seesaws may be fun, but the implications and possible uses of levers get much more impressive than that. With a big enough lever, you can lift some pretty heavy things. A person weighing 150 pounds, or 68 kilograms, could use a lever just 3.7 meters long to balance a smart car, or a 10-meter lever to lift a 2.5-ton stone block, like the ones used to build the pyramids. If you wanted to lift the Eiffel Tower, your lever would have to be a bit longer, about 40.6 kilometers. And what about Archimedes' famous boast? Sure, it's hypothetically possible. The Earth weighs 6 times 10 to the 24th power kilograms, and the Moon, that's about 384,400 kilometers away, would make a great fulcrum. So all you'd need to lift the Earth is a lever with a length of about a quadrillion light years, 1.5 billion times the distance to the Andromeda Galaxy. And, of course, a place to stand so you can use it. So for such a simple machine, the lever is capable of some pretty amazing things. And the basic elements of levers and other simple machines are found all around us in the various instruments and tools that we and even some other animals use to increase our chances of survival, or just make our lives easier. After all, it's the mathematical principles behind these devices that make the world go round.
Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. I love when I'm wandering through the halls of YouTube and I stumble on something like this, because for me in my brain, because there's nuggets everywhere in nature. I love examples from nature and physics and natural laws. And you find a video like that and I'm like, this is a thing, right? And then I have my feet in two worlds because I love to learn all this stuff, but I also am like in reality and raising kids and doing things I don't want to do and dealing with owners that are struggling and things. But because I have my foot in two worlds, I see it both ways. So I can grab the principle here and I'm like, this applies here over here. So we've all heard the term owner operator, right? Which we all start out as, right? The don't despise small beginnings. There's honor in all work, but we don't want to stay there forever. Can I get an amen? We don't want to stay there literally forever. Can I get an amen? Okay. So even the phrase owner operator bothers me because it's a conjunctive phrase. What that means is we say it like it's one idea, but really it's two unrelated, totally different things smushed together to create this idea. And here's what I mean. So an owner is a totally different thing than an operator. Yes? Okay, so when you say owner operator, yes, it's technically true. It's like a paradox though, like earlier when we talked about that. So we want to be owners, not operators. And the hard part, if you're early in business or you're in the cash flow purgatory, which you talked about earlier, is we don't have as much leverage because we spend a disproportionate amount of our time doing operator things, which are very important. You know, people like to make fun of, you know, the guy that digs ditches or something. Like I said, first of all, there's honor in all work, number one. The problem with that is that there's just not a lot of leverage for that person. And so your version of digging a ditch looks different, but it's the same problem, right? So if you're doing all the low-level administrative things and you're not doing more leveraged things, then it's harder to make a lot of money. And I think that's pretty obvious. That makes sense. One of the things we're doing with Warplan Insiders with my team is we're figuring out how to scale. Scale requires leverage, all different kinds. We're going to go through some examples. And then when I'm done with this, we're going to workshop together for a little bit and beat up these ideas and see how it fits for your business, right? Because I'm hoping you have a thought that you haven't previously had that gives you a result that was previously unavailable to you. But one of the ways to create leverage, if we want to scale, is by getting more attention. You know, my story up until now has been being miniaturely famous to a tiny group of cleaning companies, right? So no one knows who I am, but certain people, window cleaners do, right? Because I started my business with a ladder on my Chevy Cavalier, and I've helped window cleaners on Facebook, and we've done all these things. What I want to do next is going to require greater leverage, which is one of the reasons for the studio, because I have to figure out how to do things I don't know how to do, like start a YouTube channel. Anybody here have a YouTube channel? Yeah? Okay. Me too. I have dozens of followers. You should totally check it out. And so we're learning the game. And just like we talked about in the other presentation, I don't know how to do YouTube. So what did I do? Well, Will, my guy back there, Will, say, what's up? That's Will. He's kind of in charge of like making me internet famous, sort of. It's like, Will, figure out social. I don't get it. Instagram drives me nuts. I don't understand it. What do I do so that I can eventually get this message to more people, which is leverage, right? And by the way, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube, like just totally subscribe to it. Like I need more leverage. Come on, help me out. But I make all the videos back there where my funnel master ninja Ryan is sitting back there. And I'm doing it imperfectly. And, you know, some of the stuff's good. People say, Josh, it's really good. But when I look at it, I'm like, this is terrible. Like, I know that it sucks. I'm not proud of it. I know I can do more. I want to do all these advanced things. But what am I doing? I'm not doing it, fantasizing about the advanced things. I just do it. And I'm doing it, and I'm doing it, and doing it. Every single week, Will is stressed out. He's like, Josh, you're supposed to do 4 videos, and you didn't do it. And I'm like, well, Tuesday, but I'm just going to come Wednesday. And he's trying to, like, manage his relationship with me. Like, yeah, like you're the boss, but get your butt in here and stop screwing it. And then eventually he snaps. He's like, we have to do the freaking YouTube video, right? And I'm doing it, and it's consistency and chopping the wood. So anyway, owners have leverage. Operators do not have leverage, or they have very little leverage. And this is the way I visualize this when I was putting this together, okay? To get the result that you want, if you're in the trenches doing the thing, meaning you're an operator, there's only 2 needles you can move. Either charge more money or do more time of that thing, right? Who here understands in a painful way exactly what this equation means? We actually talked about it because if you want to scale, you either have to just charge more money, but there is limits to it. Even if everything is marketing and marketing is everything, I don't think people are going to be charging $50,000 an hour to clean windows, right? Probably not. We can push the boundaries of these things. We can challenge our own false beliefs. We can squeeze more juice out of the orange. But you can manipulate your prices to an extent, and you can only manipulate your time to an extremely limited extent. And this is what that looks like. You either work more hours, get more money, or you charge more money and do both and you get more money. But what if there's a better way? Okay, so this is basically an oversimplified version of how people make millions of dollars a month. This is how Tommy Mello is building $1 billion company. This is how everybody doing a big thing is doing a big thing. It's because they have more leverage than you. And I'm so excited to share this with you. You know, when I go to conferences sometimes, this is what it feels like when I talk to people. Because I'm like, you don't understand. Everything is marketing. Marketing is everything. We can do this. We can do that. And it overwhelms them. And that's on me, but I get excited. But it's like their brains shut off, right? Because they're like, no, man. I'll check it out, you know, next time. You know, hit me back. It's like, bro, like, this is what I see people do. And this is what I do sometimes, or I'm trying not to do, is there a better way? Yes, if you have leverage. So here's some different types of leverage to think about to prepare for a little workshop together, okay? Obviously, employees are a form of leverage. Money, that's a big one. Everyone thinks they need more money. We all want more money, but money is leverage. Capital is leverage. Systems are leverage. Technology is leverage. I heard a story from Patrick Bet-David. He spent, I want to say, $10 million upgrading some software system for his insurance company. And when he exited, it made $50 million in a higher valuation. So because of what the software did, right? So he made this huge investment preparing to exit because now he had a tech multiple on his, anyway, I won't get into that. But the idea, like all the systems you build for a company that are technological, it gives you leverage. I think the problem is that we don't see results like right this second sometimes. And so it feels like it's not working, but no, it's working, baby. Like it's working. If you automate your follow-up, that's a thing. You know, you might have to work 3 hours today, but you save 12 minutes a week for 27 years, right? If you invest in a piece of technology that does whatever, like a CRM, can you imagine running your business without a CRM? I met a guy at the first AGSX that Ashley and I did. He had a cleaning company for 22 years. It did $700,000 a year. And he had all of his customers on index cards in a file cabinet, right? This is like 5 years ago. Like CRMs were around back then. It's not like a new thing. But when I look at that through the eyes of like an investor, it's just unleveraged opportunity, right? Because I like buy the company, digitize all the stuff, do basic things, and probably double the revenue in 1 year. He didn't follow up with his customers. He didn't call them back. He didn't do any marketing to them. He didn't know where they were, who they were. There's nothing. He didn't know, but it was in a file cabinet. We just have to do that. That's leverage. The other types of leverage that are overlooked are skills. Skills literally is leverage. You look at basketball players, things like that. Media, like the YouTube channel that has dozens of subscribers. It's not a lot of leverage now, but I'm paying the price in the front end for results in the back end. So hopefully in a couple of years, there's thousands of them and I can reach more people. Your network is leverage. Who here knows it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? Is that ever, who here that's proved true for you in some area of your life? Yeah? It's a shortcut just to know a person sometimes, just to have a connection sometimes, right? I have some people I know that they're just really wealthy and they have certain things they talk about. And there's other little smaller companies that struggle over here. And these people are like, money feels really scarce, right? Money feels scarce and there's fear. And it's like, it feels like a zero-sum game. And that feeling, is real to them and it's holding them back. And then over here, these people are stressed out because they can't invest in enough things. Like they can't deploy their capital fast enough. They need stuff to buy. And it's real stress. Like don't get butthurt that they're like, oh, it must be nice. Hashtag first world problems. You're sad that your pony was brown instead of white. Like, no, that's not what's happening. Like they created real value. They have real skills. They're doing stuff. And it's their moral obligation to grow their wealth and for their family, just like it is this guy's. But they're stressed out about a totally different thing, right? I just think that's fascinating. Marketing is also a form of leverage. One of the reasons, look, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen in a company with systems and structure, accountability. You need mindset. You need to be a leader, a communicator. There's a lot. Marketing specifically has amazing leverage. And the reason why is if you get it right, even once in some cases, it can be worth 7 figures in new revenue to you. And so when you're doing marketing and you get discouraged because you do your little Facebook thing and like no one likes it except your grandma and your mom, right? And they're like, I'm proud of you, honey, right? It doesn't feel like anything's happening, but Myron Golden always says there's 2 types of work. There's the work that you do on it, and then the work it does on you. You're literally becoming a different person by continuing to do this stuff. For real, like the bamboo, right? So as you're iterating and testing and doing weird things and pushing the boundaries, most of which will not hit, it won't work. You'll try to create a foot in the door offer. You'll try to upsell this thing or create this new package. It's not supposed to work the first time, right? Sometimes it does, but when it does, how valuable would that be, right? It's leverage. These are 3 examples of universal leverage. And I'm gonna keep saying this because it's true and I want it in your soul. Mindset is leverage, skill set is leverage, network is leverage. Now, mindset can be changed through effort and decisions. It's not about being born with a 200 IQ. In fact, those people are socially crippled and would really struggle in business. It's about thinking different, reframing your scarcity to abundance mentality and things like that, which is very, very difficult when you're over here, but it's a requirement to get big results. Skill sets also, effort, energy, time, money. You like get better at things, get better at sales, get better at all this stuff. I love Alex Hormozy's quote. He says, the best way to build confidence is to stack irrefutable proof that you are who you say you are. To stack a mountain of irrefutable proof that you are who you say you are. So if you're in like the positive thinking mode, like I'm going to be a millionaire, or I'm going to build an orphanage, or I'm going to do X, insert X result, that's a big deal for you. I'm going to hit 200K a month, 500K a month. Part of it's just aspirational hope, right? Because then you're like freaking out on Tuesday because Tuesday things happen. but you have to like test the waters of thinking bigger and work on your skill sets and all these things. Also networking. Ashley, what's your quote? What's the best way to make friends? Be friendly. That's a really, really profound, deep thing. Thanks for coming to Texas, everybody. The best way to get friends is to be friendly. Think about this because there's beauty in the simplicity of it. Leonardo da Vinci said simplicity is the ultimate sophistication because we miss the obvious things. Vince Lombardi said, gentlemen, this is a football. You remember that money mission? Because professionals never don't do the fundamentals. So when it comes to mindset, skill sets, and network, you can intellectually understand it and still miss all of it. You can understand the words coming out of my mouth and get nothing from it. Because what it really comes down to is you in your own inner world actually doing this stuff. Even over the next day and a half, meeting each other, going deep, taking notes, following up. If you make a connect, there's a lot of smart people in the room doing some really big things. There's several people in here that have really pretty big companies, and you need to know each other. You need to encourage each other, right? Okay. Now the internet, like I said in the beginning, is the ultimate form of leverage. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you some examples of weird results people are getting on the internet. Not because I'm saying go do an internet business. That's not at all what I'm saying. But to help expand the possibilities in your brain, okay? To help you understand the reality that there's nothing wrong with you, like you're not broken, you don't need to be fixed. You just need to up-level mindset, skill sets, network. Like you just have to do it, right? These are all people Ashley and I personally know that are what some people would say are having impossible success, okay? This is my accountant, Preston, and his wife, Lauren. I've used them as an example before. They wanted to sell a course on how to decorate cookies better, okay? Like, did you hear what I said? They want to sell, imagine this. Imagine he comes to me. He's like, hey, man, I want to sell a course on how to decorate cookies better. I would have been like, yeah, probably want to choose a different product. I don't think you're going to like crush it with that, right? They did 1.4 million the first year with 80% gross margins. $47 product on the internet. It's not because he's a genius and you're not. It's because he had leverage with the business model. Jessica and Joshua Stevens, they're the makers of the King's Loot wallet, which is my favorite wallet. You should all go buy one. They're awesome. He hasn't a crazy story. He's the guy we had dinner with last week with the Wellington. Look at him. He's young. Like, how old are they? Maybe 30? It was his first business ever, too, just to really put a knife in your side. He says that God told him to build and sell a wallet. Okay, and this guy's what I refer to as a bug eater. He's one of these weird Christians that like walks around talking to God, wandering through parking lots and stuff. And so he took some paper, cut it out with scissors, taped it together, made like a prototype. He didn't know how to source material, how to manufacture. I know a little bit because of the Kid War Plan, and it is super sucky and not fun at all. It's a huge nightmare, costs tons of money, very risky, takes forever. But he did this. They did 11 million last year. They're going to do over 20 million this year selling that freaking wallet. Now they're doing backpacks. He has a plan to do 200 million, and he's going to launch these other brands. And just listening to him go, I was just so proud of him because he just believed and he just went and did it. Stephen and Chelsea Diaz was the other couple at dinner with us. So there's three couples, Ashley and I, the wallet guy, and then these people. They're maybe 30. They might be 29 or so. How old are they? And they do an online challenge to help moms learn how to make money on Amazon by like buying weird products from Alibaba and shipping it to Amazon FBA and like teaching them. I have no idea how to do that, but there's a way to do it. And they teach them this stuff. I don't think they've done less than $1 million a month in almost 2 years with that business. Brandon and Kaylin, they live in Austin right now. We met them several years ago. They obviously killed it. They did over 200 million in sales selling weight loss. The interesting reason why their weight loss company worked in the most competitive market ever, I think, is because of their tagline. Here's their tagline. Tell me how valuable you think the sentence that's about to come out of my mouth is. Okay? And just to pre-frame this, imagine you're going to start a weight loss program and imagine trying to compete in the bloody waters of that industry with everything that there is, right? Intimidating, right? Their thing was lose weight and love yourself again. Do you think they made more money from the lose weight part or the love yourself again part? My mom became a lady boss, and I didn't know it. And she didn't know that we knew them. And several years ago, Ashley and I went and spoke in Chicago, right, at their event. And I mean, there's like 1,000 women there, just ravenous, all in, like lady boss people. And all of them were like 35 to 55-year-old moms that were, pretty overweight. And then Kaylin's like this 27-year-old. It's confusing to me, but it was the emotion, it was the message, it was the way they did it. Hundreds of millions they sold that company. Law Payne is the guy that told me to buy ApeCoin. Thanks, Law. Law Payne, again, another young guy. He does over $2 million a day right now in weight loss, supplements, and some other things. And I met him because he was in Texas buying 2 or 3 Lamborghinis for giveaways for some of his programs. It's unbelievable. He logged into his account and he's showing me, and he showed me his ApeCoin account. He's like, bro, you got to get it. So me like a dummy, only invest in things you understand, people. Anyway, I lost all of it. So this is my friend, Ryan Lee. Ryan Lee, just a family guy, family systems guy. Him and his partner, Brad, started a company called Cashflow Tactics. You know, his partner is a former Goldman Sachs banker. If you think I'm nerd, like they're way more nerdy, and they're all about investment and cash flow and they teach people how to basically in 10 years or less be able to retire no matter how much money you're making right now. They've done like 50 million. Steve and Monica Ram, this is our YouTube coach. Okay, Steve is working with Will, like teaching us how to do it right and how to do it wrong. He was on the group the other day, and awesome guy. But he's a smaller example, but he does 30,000 a month from his YouTube channel. And he does stimulus check updates. Okay, I don't know if you like went and saw his channel. You're watching, you're like, what? Right? And he gets to keep all of it. And because there's leverage, there's no like expense. He's just in his home office publishing the videos. Krista Mayshore was a realtor, a very successful realtor. She built a program to help realtors. She does 2, 3, 4 million a month doing that. Friend of ours, Natalie Hodson. This lady, I don't know her that well. I've met her a couple times, but her story's crazy because she started making money because she peed her pants in a workout video and it went viral. Okay, and she peed her pants because of pelvic floor issues, which is a whole thing when you have a bunch of kids and stuff. Like, you can get leaky, but you can like do things to strengthen it. And she made a little book for $17 on how to strengthen it. Sold tens and tens of thousands of copies. Whole weird thing. Rachel Peterson had a viral post go viral because she had a tiny engagement ring. And, you know, people were trying to shame her because she had a tiny engagement ring. She's like, no, I love my tiny engagement ring. Her husband, ironically enough, is a window cleaner, by the way. And she has millions of followers now and does all kinds of stuff. Maddie Cawley lives in Texas. She's a young, maybe 20-year-old, 21-year-old entrepreneur. She has what's called the Young Entrepreneur School. She launched it. But before she even did that, when she was in high school, she had a signage business. Is that what it was? The yard sign in Texas, they put like happy birthday signs in their front yards. Does anybody else do that? I've never saw that until I came to Texas. Super weird, guys. Anyway, she built that up, sold the company for over $100,000 as a teenager. 100 grand as a teenager. So cool. Allison Prince was a school teacher and she wanted to make more money because she made like $24,000 a year or something. So she took some wood blocks she had in her garage and like painted them and decorated them and like just put them on like Etsy. That turned into the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. She's done 20 million plus. Riley Meek is a business partner of mine who runs a program called King's Council. His first 25 million he made selling insulation door to door. Okay. And then he started doing dinner seminars. And what's funny, they would sell walk-in bathtubs, insulation, and then now he sells stem cells. And the way they do it is through leverage. They invite people through direct mail to a dinner seminar, get a free dinner, right? Then they get the free dinner. Everyone knows it's a sales pitch, right? And they're just kind of playing along, but he's got it so figured out. He's attained mastery of that one thing that he predictably makes money. I talked to Riley yesterday. He did 80,000 this week. In 1.5 days doing these dinner seminars by himself. One of his employees did 140,000 selling stem cells, has like a 90% gross margin. It's insane, right? Leverage. Tyson Durfee is a world champion rodeo cowboy guy. He lives down here too. Him and his wife sell cowboy boots for kids. Look how cute these cowboy boots are. Seriously. Uh-oh. Okay. Thought my mic went out. And then Bart Miller, friend of mine, they have online beauty academy, leverage, leverage, leverage. Myron has leverage. Myron actually started out as a trash man. And his first book he wrote was called From the Trash Man to the Cash Man, right? But he has great leverage. So what's my point? As your eyes glaze over saying, this is bullcrap. I just want to grow my cleaning business. The point is we all need to find leverage. That's exactly what we're going to work on for the next while. But I want you to understand, like this group is leverage because of the network effect, because of the way it challenges the way you think, right? The event is leverage. The people next to you are leverage. All right, so how do we turn the mundane into the interesting? Okay, let's say it together, get the energy back. How do we turn the mundane into the interesting? That's what we're going to work on as a group for fun because it's super freaking important. And I want to talk about dehydrated water, which I actually have some back here. Dehydrated water. This is where I've been working on my slides and stuff back in my Heidi spot back there. So this is an actual product you can buy called dehydrated water. Check this out. It says, has science gone too far or not far enough? On this side, it says, exclusive drink of Nicolas Cage while stealing the Declaration of Independence. On this side, it says, made by hand from moon atmosphere, fairy wings, and my ex-wife's heart. Screw you, Tammy. That's what it says. And when you open it, there's a can of dehydrated water. It's actually super easy to use too, because you just add water to the can, okay? So obviously this is a silly novelty product, right? But what's cool about novelty is human brain is hardwired for novelty. Remember during coronavirus, they kept saying the novel coronavirus? That just means new. It means a new thing that hasn't been seen before, right? That's all it means, like a new variation. Well, certain novelty products can crush it. Like one example, I'm going to show you one example. This is a $500 million novelty product. What is it? Cheesehead? I bet that's, yeah, the Packers. That's it. Well, yeah. So anybody ever heard of this guy here, right? Are we all on the same page that this is a blanket with a hole cut in it? That's what this is, okay? Like this is a blanket with a hole chopped in it, and someone sold $500 million of it. Now, how did they do that? They did it through making it feel novel, by making it feel interesting, right? Even what Jasmine just said about the little card from the cleaner to do the little things like that, the leverage of that, it makes it feel different, okay? So, oh man, this is gonna be awesome. Go to the next slide. So before I tell you what we're gonna do, this is a life hack for you that has helped me. It's called the cathedral effect. I've never heard it articulated like this until recently, but it's 100% true. When you're trying to do creative things, it behooves you to be in an actual physical space that has a tall ceiling. Have you ever heard this before? So it makes sense, but when you're working around clutter and you're trying to be creative, it doesn't work. Can I get an amen? Or if you're like chaos mode, get the crew out, do the thing, schedule the oil change, you're like, oh, okay, I gotta nail those Facebook ads. Like, probably not gonna happen, not effectively, right? The cathedral effect has to do with changing your environment so you can change your emotions, you can change your state. People that are highly creative, if they're outside or they're literally in a cathedral like that, it facilitates higher levels of creativity, which is freaking amazing. Whereas, a smaller ceiling room actually is better if you're doing analytical things. So like accounting firms or your tax preparer will be more efficient living or doing it in a more constrained, confined space. Is that crazy? Right? This just, again, helps you remind you that humans, we're not as logical as we think we are. We're very, very sensitive to our environment, to the words we say to ourselves, the stories we tell ourselves, all this stuff. And there's an energy to environment. So who here has an office that looks like this? Anybody? Okay, mine gets there. It gets there. And then I power clean it and make it perfect. And then it will get there, right? It'd be better for all of us if it was just always perfect, but that's not reality sometimes. But it's hard to be creative and do marketing if it feels like that, right?